So as I mentioned, we're talking about graffiti this morning. Can it ever really be called art? And is there a spiritual dimension? Hopefully we've got Muhammad Ali on the line. Muhammad, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us. You're also known as Aerosol Arabic, which is quite an amusing title, really. How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, it's around the art that I do. It's kind of a blend of graffiti and Arabic script, often Arabic script, and inspired a lot by my faith as a Muslim and incorporating kind of spiritual values within the work that I do.
Some people would say, though, Mohammed, that actually it's almost contradictory because you're doing something, the art, and we'll talk about whether or not it's art in just a moment, is something that causes a lot of people upset.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you see my work, I mean, yes, straight away people have all these negative connotations when they think of graffiti, but you just need to come and see some of the murals, and I'm sure any critics would realize the value of this art and embracing kind of new techniques and styles of the modern day and being able to express one's faith. There's no harm in that.
So how do you go about expressing your faith with a spray can?
Well, aside from, of course, conventional art, painting on canvas and doing exhibitions, I do believe there is a place for that, and I do enjoy doing kind of conventional kind of art displays. However, my real joy is taking it literally to the streets. There's nothing beats taking the art and kind of transforming our kind of ugly grey environment often, and literally splashing colour onto these walls, but not just colour, but something with meaning, something that benefits the wider society, because in this day and age when we hear about all the issues that we face perhaps in multicultural societies, multi-faith societies, I kind of feel we need to take the public space and take the message literally to the streets and try and change the world, really, literally.
And I've thank you very much. This morning you sent through some links to the work that you were doing yesterday at Green Street. It looks like it was a very lively session, and I can see on my screen the final picture, which is knowledge, a weapon against, I can't read that, against mass destruction. Sorry.
No, not destruction, mass distraction.
And just explain what that means to you.
Well, on the wall, obviously, it's written in kind of a Gothic English script, knowledge, as well as in Arabic. You'll see the kind of the Arabic motif script. Basically, the importance of knowledge. It's on the side of a bookstore as well, and it's working alongside. I was commissioned by a faith-based charity, Muslim Hands, who do a lot of work in building schools and educational projects in the developing world. So it kind of made sense, the focus of education, something we take for granted, when 141 million children around the globe do not have access to education. So it's kind of highlighting the importance of seeking knowledge, and as the words alongside it say, a weapon against mass distraction, against ignorance, the opposite, and that's what we all need to do, really. We need to just kind of understand, educate, and learn from one another, and we can deal with a lot of the problems that we have.
And one of the things, of course, with this kind of art and some other artists that I've spoken to on this program, if they, not necessarily graffiti, but some other forms of art that are ephemeral, i.e. they are transient in nature. I mean, anyone, maybe not in this case, but certainly if you were doing it somewhere else, could come along and paint over what you have just done. How, as an artist, do you respond to that challenge?
Well, so far, I must say, all praise be to God. Most of the walls I've done, wherever they've been in the globe, from New York to Sydney, Australia, all the walls I've done, they've had no damage so far, and I kind of feel that that's perhaps because often it's the local people that I like to work with, and I like to give the community a sense of ownership and pride over these walls. So, I can never prevent it, of course, and, I wouldn't like anybody to do that, but a lot of the time, the community that I visit, that the people respect these walls and kind of, cherish them as something meaningful. This is not just, art for art's sake, splashed upon a wall, but it's something that benefits people of all faith. So generally speaking, I've been fortunate.
And how do Muslims then, your own community, react to your art? Do they see it as a way of, I suppose, encouraging people to delve into the word, into the Quran?
Well, that's not my aim, for sure. It's not about proselytizing and kind of preaching in any way. Rather, I'm just kind of spreading a universal message. But no doubt it comes from my inspiration as a Muslim, no doubt. However, I think people realize and recognize that what I'm doing from the Muslim community, they understand that this is something that is, in the actual fact, there is no contradiction. In the fact that graffiti art, one would see these as two opposite extremes almost, but in actual fact, graffiti art and Islamic art, historically, you'll see they're both based on the word, the power of words, non-figurative. And the central focus was how the words interlink to one another. So I find that the community, they've been very kind of warmly received the work that I do and see that this is something that engages our youth, and that's the problem today. From people, regardless of what culture or faith, we have a problem with youth, and this connects with the very youth that they're.
Yes, well, and it certainly picks up on the wonderful Arabic tradition of calligraphy, etc., but just with a bigger pen in some ways.
Exactly, yeah. We have to, move with the times, instead of pen and ink traditionally, I'm just picking up a spray can and, doing a little something on the wall.
Well, listen, Mohammed, great to speak to you this morning. Thanks for making the time to be with us. Mohammed Ali, also known as Aerosol Arabic. You can go onto his website, I think it's aerosolarabic.com, where you can see lots more of his work and also footage about the stuff that he did at Green Street here in London yesterday.